Now, 609 4/24 2024 Grit Team Meeting. Pumped to be here. Few things we're going to cover, clarify some things, go over things. So if you're watching this on replay, do not go anywhere because you are going to get some good information and you're going to get some clarity on a few things, and there will be some assignments to make sure that you're doing as well. So if you're here in live time, be ready to take down some notes. And if you're watching this on replay, get something to where you will be able to take notes. So I am excited about how this weekend went. I know that sounds a little odd because there was the 16U team did struggle, but finished on a strong note. But checking in with everybody, I feel like we have some things to address to make sure the next three tournaments are better, but I still feel like we're going in the right direction. So I feel like the 17U team and Coach Lunt, when he hops on, I'll speak a little bit more to it as well. But I feel like the 17U team bounced back extremely well on Sunday and got 2 wins. So that was great. First game lost on a tough call. And that's one of the things that we're going to discuss on this call that I want to make sure everyone is clear on and there's no confusion. So with that, first, I apologize if I got too out of line. I probably would have got more out of line if I hadn't had Jack on my hip. So good and bad. Maybe I was too hard on the officials or yelled too much, but I still feel like I'm right. You can't just say that there's no time left on the clock when there's time on the clock. Like, if you guys don't know the situation, there was a foul, loose ball foul. Their guy or their parent is keeping the score and stops it at 0.2 seconds, and he finds out it's a foul and keeps running it. And so I'm like, there's 0.2 seconds on the clock. There's probably like 0.6, but at minimum, there's 0.2. And he said, you can't do much in 0.3 seconds. What? You can put the time back on the clock, though. Like maybe there's an over the back or loose something. You don't just get to call the game. And so I got upset, but and that kind of hung over into our second game, I feel like a little bit for that 17U team. With that said, we're going to make sure that we're not the program that is known for complaining or whining. And I know that referees are there, and I think we just got to go in knowing or assuming they're going to be bad. So referees, they're people, they make mistakes just like you. We all miss shots, but it is we definitely don't want to be the program, especially when we're getting beat. Like we don't want to make excuses. We don't want to look like, oh, we're trying to blame someone else. We need to own that. And so that's a conversation that we've had. The coaches, Coach Bolger, Coach Lunt, Coach Willis, Coach Hellstrom, and myself have talked about that. And it's going to change. And it'll change from us and it'll change from you. But this is something I want you to make sure that we're communicating also with your parents. So we are not going to be known as a program that complains about officials, complains about anything outside of our control. And as a parent, they don't have control over how much you play. They don't have control over the referees, the other team. I think it's important that you guys are the first place that I'm going to with this. But I want to make sure that we're grit positive at all times and that we're not talking or belittling or putting down officials. So, like I said, I'm starting with you. I wanted to just try to squash this. It's not like I haven't heard anything, and it's not like it's so bad that I'm wanting to change or drop players or parents or anything like that. But I just want to make sure that we address this clearly before there is any problems or it gets worse. So, uh, grip positive at all times. Let the coaches coach. You guys play. Um, and parents encourage and cheer, but saying pass the ball or shoot the ball or play so and so or that was a terrible call or we want to be extremely positive. And so that's where we have to try to bite our lips, pinch your thumb, like right there, whatever it takes for you guys and for your parents not to cause this to be a bigger concern. So I think we talk about it now. I think you guys talk about it with your parents, and then I don't think it's going to be a problem. But as long as we make sure that we're together, the T in grit is for together. That's me, that's you guys, that's the parents. We're together. So so that's important. That's a big part of it. It's one of the four core values. And like I said, I don't think it's a big situation that I'm overly concerned about, but I just wanted to make sure that we talked about it so that way it's clear that that is an expectation that and that's why we do the Zoom calls with the parents to try to get to know each other. And because I think we had a bunch of great kids and awesome families and parents, and I don't think it's malicious or any type of ill will. I just think referees are kind of not great. I know that was us at the 17U level. So I know that they're probably putting their better ones on our 17U games. And so our 16U team is not getting the best. So I understand that. And that's why I did talk to the tournament director and I was like, hey, these guys got to do better. And that's where I feel like that's an okay thing to do and how I should have handled it. Instead of yelling, "You're horrible! That's terrible." I don't know exactly what I said, but I'm pretty sure I said something like, "That's terrible. I don't know if I said you're horrible, but can't call that or something." But um, I did talk. I mean, he's got to learn. You can't call that. Like you don't decide the game as the official. So I told the tournament director I'm not trying to get him fired or docked his pay or anything, but it should be a learning lesson for him too that you don't change the rules. If there's time on the clock, you figure out how to put time back on the clock. You don't say, "Oh, well, I don't know how to use that clock, so I probably won't be able to put on less than a second." You figure like that's just not something that you should do as an official. But anyways, enough of that. I didn't want to start out the call too negative, but I just wanted to make sure that we are all together. And same thing for players to players. I feel like we had a great group. And I just want to make sure that we are checking up on our teammates when there's people that are injured, when there's guys that are quiet for a little bit, check up on your teammates. And I've said it before, hopefully you guys have a players chat, and maybe you do, and maybe you're in that players chat communicating with each other, saying stuff, making each other laugh. I don't know. I hope you guys do have that, and I hope you have maybe even a 16U and a 17U chat, but make sure that you check up on the guys when they're quiet. Because I know you would want them to check up on you too. So if you are one of the guys that's connected and engaged and feels like they know what's going on, check up on the guys. You guys have access to the folder. You can see who's doing their stuff. You can see who's not. Um, I want you guys to raise your level of leadership in that you doing it is great, but then bringing up the level of everyone around you. That's what makes like great leaders. So doing your stuff on time is great. Asking questions is awesome. I love that when you guys ask questions, but if you can Google it or check with a teammate, that's probably a best first stop. And then, like I said, if they don't know it, then you can come to me, or if Google says, I don't know, then you can reach out. But I think for the most part, we're doing a good job. And maybe this is going to the guys that are watching this on replay, and hopefully they are watching this on replay because the guys that are here watching now are the guys that are taking care of their business and have been engaged. And so if you're watching this on replay, hopefully, hopefully you're one of the guys that is engaged. And if you're one of the guys that isn't, plug in. Because I am getting those reports. And so we will go over that here. Coach Lunt, are you able to give a little
Yep,
hello? What's happening, Coach? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Just cooking dinner. Got
Good
the
time of day.
got the black stove going for the first time. So,
What are you putting on there, Coach?
carne asada, onions. It's looking pretty
Protein.
good. Yeah.
Protein. Love it.
All right. So, best advice I've ever heard, and we try to apply it with our guys, is you can be one of three things. You can be a player, you can be a coach, you can be an official. Try to be the one that you showed up to the game to be. So if you showed up to the game to be a player, don't be a coach, don't be an official, be a player. If you showed up to be a coach, don't be a player, don't be an official, be a coach. And then the same thing with officials. So Coach Hellstrom, Coach Miner can all vouch for this in our practices. A lot of our guys are very competitive, and will, I don't want to say complain, but they're gonna question some calls every once in a while. And I always remind them of those roles, and know that you're never going to be the best player if you're always trying to be the best official on the court. Going back to circle of control and focusing on the things you can control. So one of three things: show up, just be the player you're supposed to be. Don't worry about being a coach or an official. And the same thing goes for the coaches too. That's all I got.
I'm not going to try to play. Now you got to worry about me trying to referee, I guess. But I'm going to try to do my best to stick to the one that I showed up to do. But so for you guys, this Sunday will be the due date for the goal sheets. So make sure, and I think Lane, you went in and saw what you did wrong, right? So that's where I'm saying read it very carefully. So that way you don't have to go back and redo it. And there's ways you could have scrambled, maybe like resaved it, but read the instructions. You got to make a copy of it first. If you're not sure, don't mess with the one that says original. Tap into a teammate. Clayton's already got his in there. I've already gave the guy a shout out. He knows what he's doing. He can help you guys out. Caleb, I know Caleb is either knows what's going on or will figure out what's going on and help you, right? So I know that you guys have good teammates. And so if you have questions about how to save it or how to get it in the folder or how to make a copy of it, work together. Ask somebody. And then hopefully you guys can get that all done because those will be checked on Sunday. As far as the amplitude assignments, I have down that these are, if you hear your name, this is a good thing. Carpenter, Carton, Seehey, Diaz, Fitzgerald, Fredericks, Hansen, Herman, Jackson, Long, Olson, Slagers, Brandenburg. If you did not hear your name, not as good. And if you have Garrison or Hubert, you have a pass because you were not assigned those yet. Next week, you'll be expected to have your name be one of those. So those are the breathe big, act big, think big assignments. So I thought that was pretty good stuff. What is it? The 6, 6, 2, 8. In for 6, hold for 2, out for 8. Slows your breathing, lets your body know that you're under control, right? Hopefully, you guys know what I'm talking about because this is what you should have been watching. So if you're shaking your head like you don't know what I'm talking about, then you need to do your assignments. But that's being able to control your breathing. When things get tense and things get tough, you resort back to your practice. That's why when we talk about free throw routines, everybody knows you should have a physical free throw routine, right? Same number of dribbles, spin, whatever it is you do, wrap around your waist or whatever it is you do, you should do the exact same thing every time. Tap it behind your head, stretch out a little bit, whatever it is you do, you should do that every time the exact same. You should also have the same mental routine. So that way you're not thinking, oh crap, we're down 1. If I miss this, oh crap, if I miss it, you're thinking sight, feel, swoosh. Sight, feel, swoosh every time. Or 1, 2, 3. Whatever it is your routine is, you should mentally recite the same thing every time you shoot a free throw. Probably even with your breathing. Maybe it's a deep breath, spin the ball, 2 bounces, sight, feel, swoosh. Sight, feel, swoosh. See it going in, feel it going in, swoosh it. Whatever it is, you should have the same physical, mental, and breathing routine every time you step to the foul line. Eliminate variables. You guys know what a variable is, right? Like in a science experiment, you change one thing and then the outcome, you can tell you don't want to have a whole bunch of different things changing because then you won't know which one it is that changed the outcome. So you want to have as few of variables. You want things to be almost exactly the same every time. The basket, Clayton, how far, unmute yourself. How far away from the basket is the free throw line? Unmute.
15 feet.
15 feet every time. Caleb, how high is the hoop? How high is the hoop? Easy one. Layup.
10 foot.
Say it one more time.
10 foot.
10 foot every time, right? So there's no, like, can you imagine how much more difficult basketball would be with the, sometimes you got fouled and you went to the line that was 11. Sometimes you went to the foul line and it was only 9 feet. And sometimes you were 17 feet back, or you want to try to have everything be exactly the same every single time. So the ball's always the same size, the rim's the same distance. You want to, all right, Kellen, no worries. Get your stuff done. Take care of business. Thanks for jumping in. Appreciate you even at a track meet outside in the cold spring of Oregon, joining in. Phone's dying, but thanks for hopping in. So you want to have as few of variables as possible. The ball's the same size, the rim's the same size, it's the same distance away. You don't want to have variables. That's why golf is so hard because you never hit the same shot twice. There's always a different wind or balls lying in a different position. But free throws, that's why it's the same thing every time. You should get that same rhythm, that same routine. But if you guys don't know, so I get to see every week who's filling out or who's listening or who's answering the questions, and I get your answers to those questions. So it is interesting to see who's doing it and who's not doing it. And it's interesting to see who's actually putting some thought into those answers of who do you check up with? When do you know? So this week you were just assigned the next assignment. I think they're called assignments in that app or in assignments. Yeah, so you'll have a new assignment that you're expected to do. It's called Courage Reflections, Building Courage Reflection. And that's due by the 29th. So if you don't know, you should have gotten an email because I'm looking at it right now and it says view my assignments. You click that. If you don't know how to do it, talk to somebody other than me because there's a lot of people that do know how to do it because they're the ones doing it. But we'll do the goal sheet by Sunday. That assignment is due by next Tuesday. We'll be back at the Jewish Community Center next Tuesday night. So this next Tuesday night, we will be back at the Jewish Community Center. And then May 3rd, Sanders Court, 6:30 to 8:30, which is closer probably for you, Lane. That's in Sherwood. So everybody else kind of knows where that's at, but or Colton might not either, but we'll make sure Colton knows. I'm sure Coda will be able to give an assist to get him there. But yeah, that's about all I had that I wanted to make sure we covered. Grit positive, staying together, leaving the officials alone, and making sure that we worry about things that we can control. We don't want to be known as the team that whines, especially in games when you're getting beat, right? And it seems to be that that's usually the ones that we complain about because if you win, it's like, oh, who cares, But let's try to make sure that we are showing gratitude to the officials because there was a referee shortage. And I did talk to the young official that there afterwards, and I think he learned that that's not a call that you should ever make in a game as a basketball official. But yeah, we're all trying to get better. So I'm learning too. And I'll own that it was that I didn't get a technical though either. And I know Jacob probably deserved a couple of technicals from what I heard. I know Coda got tossed, so nothing to take lightly. I heard it was bad, but there will be I wish Jacob would have got teed up from how he was acting, from what it sounded like. And this can be completely off, but I do know Jacob Bolger pretty well. And it's kind of like you kind of go with like previous, so you kind of err on the side of judgment based on how I've seen him act before. And I know he is a passionate, intense young coach. So when I hear that he was um too or more concerned with the officiating than he should have been, and how he should have been directing some of that onto our players coaching us rather than yelling at the officials. I'm gonna say, and I know Jacob's not on the call, so I don't want to feel like I'm throwing him under the bus since he's not here, but we've talked about it, and there will be some changes, and hopefully if we do act like that, he gets technicals and we learn, but hopefully we can learn without having to get technicals, without having to give away points to them at the line. Hopefully we can squash that and we don't have any other issues. But with that, I think I got a giveaway for somebody that can, let me see here. And I think I still have I have a few things that I have in my bag, my grit bag. So I think I owe a few people gift, a shirt, I think. I think I owe Caleb $100. I think. It was so close, Caleb. It was like you didn't really know, you kind of know his name, but now I know you would know everybody's name now. And I love it. Now I know you would. So you impressed me a lot by knowing that. Does anybody know who is the only coach in the history to win both an NCAA national championship and an NBA championship? Does anybody know that? You can unmute, you can type it in the chat. If you do know, that would be impressive. But it is somebody that is still alive. But his national championship team, does anybody know? Was Kansas. His NBA team was the Detroit Pistons. He was the Pistons coach in 2004 when they had Brown, Aiden. Aiden chimes in from left field, says he doesn't know his first name, but Brown is accurate enough. You could have said Coach Brown, and then you wouldn't have had to admit that you didn't know his first name, which is probably what I would have done. Jacob is a good Googler or googly oogles, but I'm gonna go ahead and say Aiden Brown question mark IDK. His first name was the first correct answer. So Aiden coming in hot, gets it. Coach Brown, Larry Brown, he was a coach at UCLA too. I have a picture of me shaking his hand when I was in college, which is kind of funny. It was one of my action shots when I was a Portland Pilot because our coach at University of Portland played at UCLA for Larry Brown. And then when Larry Brown was the Pistons coach, they came to Portland, University of Portland, when they were playing the Blazers, came to our practice. So Larry Brown and I was reaching out, shaking his hand during practice, and our camera guy snapped the photo, and they posted that as one of my like action shots. Kind of funny. Anyways, thanks for joining. Thanks for watching this on replay. If you're watching this on replay, if you didn't get to see this live and you're watching this on replay, drop me a message and let me know that you will not get a technical foul for talking or taunting or tick-tacking or ticker talking during the game. Whatever. No fighting, no technical fouls, no TikToks. All right, guys. You're free to head out, and we will see you on Zoom on Sunday, and we will see you in the group chat before then. Let's go, Grit. Take care of your business. And if you're still on the call and you're one of the guys that didn't hear your teammate's name, reach out to them, check in with some people, see how they're doing. Appreciate you guys. Much love. Bye-bye.